Welcome to One STB News. Today we are focusing on three controversial news from the last couple of weeks. The first case is the typhoon in the Philippines. Secondly, we will talk about concentration camps in North Korea. And at the end, the demonstration in Ukraine. Now over to our correspondent Oda.
On 8th of November 2013, the super typhoon Haiyan took a devastating path across the central Philippines. Nearly 13 million people have been affected, which is 13% of the whole population on Philippines. The Philippines is now suffering from lack of safe drinking water and food, no shelter, untreated injuries and illness, lack of sanitation and personal hygiene items. The typhoon was a Category 3 on a scale for tropical storms, as for the Haiti earthquake in 2010. This was one of the most intense tropical storms in the history. But it wasn't the strong wind that pulverized areas of the Philippines. It was the 5-meter-tall wall water of ocean that crushed the cities by smashing the houses and floating them. There are millions of people who have been affected, including hundreds of thousands who have been forced to leave their homes. Actually, there are over 5,000 confirmed deaths and over 7 million people have been injured. There are countless of dead people. The people that have survived are now suffering from the damage made by the tropical storm. Due to the public poverty in the country, a lot of buildings weren't constructed to stand the wave or the wind. With a wind stronger than 370 kilometers per hour, loosened pieces of wood from demolished houses and other items were flying with a tremendous speed and thereby injuring or even killing the people.
The internment camps for people accused of political offenses or denounced as politically unreliable are run by the State Security Department. Political prisoners are subject to guilt by association punishment. They are deported with parents, children, and siblings, and sometimes even grandparents or grandchildren, without any lawsuit or conviction and are detained for the rest of their lives. The internment camps are located in central and northeastern North Korea. They comprise many prison labor colonies in secluded mountain valleys, completely isolated from the outside world. The total number of prisoners is estimated to be 150,000 to 200,000. The prisoners are forced to perform hard and dangerous slave work. The food rations are very small, so that the prisoners are constantly on the brink of starvation. In combination with the hard work, this leads to a huge number of prisoners dying. An estimated 40% of prisoners die from malnutrition. Moreover, many prisoners are crippled from work accident, frostbite, or torture. Prisoners that work too slowly or do not obey an order are often beaten or tortured. In case of stealing food or attempting to escape, the prisoners are publicly executed. There were around 12 political prison camps, but some were merged or closed. Today there are 6 camps in North Korea.
Concentration camps in North Korea expanding. Amnesty International is a global movement who campaign to end grave abuses of human rights. They work independent of any government, political ideology, and religion. Basically, their work is based on getting people worldwide to follow the Declaration of Human Rights. Amnesty International has published new satellite images over the concentration camps for political prisoners in North Korea. Despite the poor quality of the images, they reveal the concentration camps' location and size. This is fundamental news because North Korean authorities have denied in many decades the existence of political prisoners camps in their country. As we all know, North Korea is an isolated country with dictatorship, and they put everyone who seems as a threat to the authorities in the concentration camps. Due to Amnesty International sources, the security in the camps take advantage of the prisoners and expose them for rape, torture, and other violations of the human rights. By comparing satellite pictures from 2011 with pictures taken this fall, we can clearly see that the area has expanded with new buildings. According to Amnesty International, it is approximately 200,000 prisoners in the camps today. The number of concentration camps has grown substantially over the past decades, and the images shows us that they are still under construction. It is no wonder that North Korean authorities has to expand the camps, because they are filled up with prisoners who have been convicted simply because they are related to others who are arrested. To conclude, Amnesty International requires the concentration camps to be shut down and to release the prisoners.
In a week with many markings of peace, such as the distribution of the Nobel Peace Prize and the marking of Nelson Mandela's death, the riots in Ukraine continue. They are fighting for an open society and a greater engagement to the West instead of the East. Most of the riots have occurred in the Independence Square in Kyiv, the Ukrainian capital. The over 250,000 demonstrants started out with a peaceful protest, and they wanted to get the country to join the European Union. However, the government depressed the proposal, and now the demonstrants demand the dissolving of the government. The protest that started peacefully evolved into a riot when the police violently broke up a peaceful protest.
The reason why they wanted to be a part of the EU is the possibilities to work in the West. The country has big economical problems and many are unemployed. One of the reasons why the government said no to collaboration with EU is the connection to Russia. According to BBC, some fear that Russia used their gas supplies as a weapon against Ukraine in the negotiation with EU. Ukraine owes Russia 30 billion American dollars. They are also depending on gas from Russia for heating and electricity. Therefore, Russia can force Ukraine to say no to EU, or else they will stop supplying gas. However, the people of Ukraine are against the Russians. When the statue of Lenin was pulled down, Lenin, who is a symbol on how Ukraine were brutally integrated in Soviet Union, it shows how they think about them. Yesterday, the US foreign policy chief tells that Ukraine have changed their mind about the EU collaboration. This information came out after a meeting between Yanukovych and the foreign policy chief in Kiev. The reason for the change was short-term financial problems. The deal is not yet signed, but it soon may be.
This was everything we had for today. We just want to remind you that our news channel always keeps the fresh ethnical issue in mind. Our news are always accurate and truthful and share with an objective view, and the sources used are always reliable. Thank you for listening to One STB News. We wish our listeners a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.